Alyssa Bustamante was found guilty of first-degree murder in the 2009 death of Elizabeth Olten, who was 9 years old. In fact, Alyssa hadn't yet turned 18. When she was arraigned, she was tried as an adult even though she was just 15 years old. Child-on-child homicide is not unprecedented. Though many have occurred before, this latest one highlights how insane our planet truly is. Also, you can put your faith in the fact that a dysfunctional family is often the root cause. Both Alyssa's parents had a checkered criminal history, with the former serving a 10-year sentence and the latter having multiple stints behind bars. Alyssa's only option was to spend time with her grandparents. Depressed and suicidal, she had a reputation for this behavior. Self-injury is a typical coping mechanism for depressed adolescents. Alyssa had even tried suicide and is currently in inpatient and out-of-hospital treatment. No one, however, anticipated that she would go so far as to murder another young woman. She was having a mental explosion of evil and acted on it. Like most teenagers her age, Alyssa skipped school that Friday to spend time with her friends and family before the weekend. She used it to good use by excavating 2 graves in an unremarkable spot. She went back to her house and behaved as if nothing had happened. As usual, she had a great weekend. On Monday, she returned to school and continued to go along with her classmates' shenanigans. However, she had something really sneaky in mind. She had decided that she needed to take someone's life soon, or else the graves she had dug would never let her rest. The chance presented itself only 4 days later. Elizabeth, a neighbor of hers, was returning home from a friend's house on foot. Just 4 doors away were Elizabeth's home, but this would be the last time anyone ever saw her alive. While the graves waited for Elizabeth's body, Alyssa snatched her and subjected her to a brutal beating, strangulation, and stabbing. They contacted the authorities because she didn't come home when her family expected. The police looked everywhere for her but couldn't track her down. In the end, Alyssa felt she had no choice but to admit to killing Elizabeth. She then escorted law enforcement to the gravesite, where Elizabeth's body was laid to rest. Even stranger is Alyssa's explanation that she merely committed it to experience the feeling of murder. Apart from that, Alyssa was said to be violent and clearly crazy for even entertaining the thought of murder for its own reason. After Elizabeth Olten's death, Alyssa was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. Furthermore, the judge decided to try her as an adult even though she was a minor. Despite having previously admitted guilt, she pleaded not guilty. Alyssa went into detail in court about the brutal murder she committed against Elizabeth. Her attorneys argued that she might have been affected by an antidepressant in an attempt to help her client's case. However, psychologists rebutted this claim. The murder was referenced in Alyssa's journal entry from the night of the crime. It was just as unsettling because she seemed to be praising her own behavior in it. Alyssa attempted an apology at the sentencing hearing, but it fell flat. She received a life sentence with the possibility of parole. Alyssa is from Missouri, but the rules there have changed since she was a child. Accordingly, Alyssa's parole hearing is scheduled for July 2024. However, even if she is granted parole, she still has a 30-year sentence to serve, and no one knows if this will be considered in the parole hearing. If Alyssa is subjected to the full force of the law, she won't be eligible for release until she's over 60 years old in 2054. For Alyssa, then, the story is far from over. It was a horrifying act on her part. That much was clear, and even though her actions were impulsive and foolish, premeditated murder is still a terrible crime. Of course, history is littered with examples of kids killing kids. Sometimes it stems from inherited feelings of resentment and helplessness. As a result, they have a cynical outlook on life. But Alyssa was a young woman who had plenty of room to roam and time to kill, similar to the mass shootings we've seen in the news at schools.